Hi guys, we will discuss SA 240. What is SA 240? Is auditor's responsibility with respect to fraud and error. If fraud contains in the financial statement, what will happen? Many people relies upon the financial statement. So it is the responsibility for the auditor to ensure that financial statements are free from frauds and errors. So we will move in details of the discussion. What is fraud? In today's world, we are come across many occasions. Fraud, 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 fraud. So my question is, what is fraud? Fraud means what? It's an intentional activity by one person or many persons. That one person may be within the management, maybe among the employees, or outside the employees, or related parties. There may be a combination. Management and employees collude together may perpetrate the fraud. Between the employees collude together may perpetrate the fraud. Related party outside and employees inside or management inside colludes, they may be perpetrate fraud. So if the fraud contains in the financial statement may be go wrong. So now we understand what is fraud. Why fraud is happening? What is the motto? What is the motive behind committing the fraud? Why people committing the fraud? It may be what is the reason? Okay. For getting some unlawful benefit on the cost of others, people commit fraud. Isn't it? So there may be some risky factors as far as the fraud is concerned. Certain risky factors are there. What is the factors? See, if you're taking example of a banking or insurance field, every month they maybe have a pressure. What will happen if the target has not been achieved? What will happen? They may be fired out from their job. So in order to protect their job, they may be perpetrate fraud. Or take another example. I'm telling one more example. Incentives, sales-based organizations. For an example, automobiles, selling cars, they are getting commissions on that. How more you make the sales, that much you will earn the commission. Isn't it? To earn higher amount, to get more money, they may commit frauds. These are called fraud risk factors. Some organizations, their controls are damn and weak. So there is an opportunity to commit fraud. All these are known as fraud risk factors. So this is very important here. Then I am asking one question to all of you. Who is responsible for prevention or detection or correction of fraud and error? You take auditors in a year. How many days they are involved in the audit engagement? Hardly 1 week, 2 week, or a 1 month period of time. It's very hard to detect them, isn't it? It is covered under the inherent limitations of audit. Fraud is happening. How? It's due to the business activity. Who is managing the business? It's the management of the organization. They are managing the business, isn't it? So it's a resultant of business process. So the primary responsibility for preventing the fraud cast on the management, not on the auditors. You must understand the primary responsible person. They have to prevent their properties. What management has to do in this regard? How management prevent fraud? How they prevent the fraud? Is one example I'm telling you, the internal checks. Internal checks, segregation of incompatible functions. One person shall not control one particular transaction. This is one example I'm telling you, management, how they prevent fraud, fraud and error. So now our questions will be lies on what is auditor's responsibility? What auditors has to do? That is the crux of SA 240. What is auditor's responsibility? Number one, he has to ensure financial statements are free from fraud and error. He has to perform certain function, what they are. Number one, before moving into the work aspects, checking and all, he has to inquire with the management. They are in a better position. Which areas are susceptible for fraud? Maybe the revenue recognized areas, window dressing kind of things. So they will better position to help you. So inquire with the management about these aspects. Number two, he has to inquire with TCWG whether they maybe have past knowledges of the fraud affected the organization, so they are in a better position to help us. If the organization have internal audit functions, inquire with them. Why? Because internal audit function is a part of this prevention of fraud, and their duties mainly centered around this kind of preventions of the fraud. After that, auditor will get a clear pictures. Good picture he will get. He will get a good idea about the business. Fraud affecting the organization. This is covered under the risk assessment procedure. After that, he has to discuss among their engagement teams. He has to check out the actions. He have to carry out certain audit procedure. So, I'm telling you, auditor should be professionally skeptic, should not blind in carrying out his audit procedure. Always questioning the mind. When he come across contradictory things, go into the depth of the procedures. After that, what is the next procedure is collect maximum evidence. If fraud is identified, detected, collect the enough evidence, enough quantity evidence he has to collect it. After, he has to respond, he has to deploy right personnels for carrying out the audit engagement procedures, report it. Obviously, auditors has a responsibility for reporting. The fraud value more than 1.5 crores has to report to the central government. Less than that, he has to report to the TCWG. And this is our main discussions here. Thank you for watching the video.